After break now, please welcome Javier Hasse, the Managing Director of Benzinga Cannabis Editorial, and Mikey Mohr from Houseplant.
Do it. Well, this should be a fun conversation. Mikey is the CEO of Houseplant, a very famous brand, started in Canada, counts on the support of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Mikey, tell us a little bit about the company, a little bit about you, your background. Shoot.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy to be here at the Benzinga conference. My name is Mikey Mohr. My background, my career really started close to here at Bear Stearns doing commercial mortgage-backed securities. So used to live here in New York. Ran a real estate private equity fund for a decade that focused on hospitality, and really was a student of the cannabis space for a number of years, along with my close friends Evan and Seth. And we knew we had a tremendous opportunity to do something unique and interesting in this category. And you know, we took a while to study and watch the landscape unfold and figure out what the right path for us would be, and that's where Houseplant came to life.
It is unique and interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about the brand itself, right? It's lifestyle, it's cannabis, it's house goods, it's a bunch of different things. So can you provide a little bit of an overview of the brand?
Sure. Something we recognized very early when you think about unfair advantages and unique opportunities that you have to pursue. We recognized early on that we would always be speaking to a much larger audience than would ever have access to Houseplant cannabis products. So today, for example, Houseplant cannabis products can only be found in Canada and in California in limited distribution right now. But due to Seth and his audience and him being a public figure of note and a real authority in this space, we knew we would always be speaking to an incredibly large, global audience, really. And so when we thought through that, and we thought about this inevitable path towards mass commercialization of cannabis products as CPG products, as through various formats, we knew that there was a really broad, large audience that we could access that was interested in this category. And so when we thought through that, we also developed a thesis, and it really came through our own needs and wants as individuals who have homes and like nice things in our homes, and who were tired of having a friend come over and handing them a mug to ash in. We saw a real white space for premium homewares that are related to cannabis or cannabis adjacent. And that's where we established Houseplant as house and plant. So the house side of the business is, we have some up here, is premium homewares. And just like people have bar carts and decanters and martini shakers, we saw that there would be a high demand for nice objects that are related to cannabis. And so we created the house side of our business. We launched both the house and plant side in the US in March of this year concurrently. And within about 4 months, both sides of the business independently were 7-figure businesses. And we achieved our goal really with the thesis, which was, as of August, it took until August for someone in Alaska to finally order something, but we have successfully shipped Houseplant products to all 50 states. And so
very cool.
I think a real differentiator, thank you. A real differentiator for us is that we are currently speaking to a national audience as a cannabis lifestyle brand, and a very large one.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about Houseplant, you say you want to take cannabis out of the drawer, right? Proverbially speaking, and many of these house goods, right, kind of fulfill this function, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we view cannabis not as a good product, but as a great product. And in a world where your earphones that you buy get treated with such care, and the packaging is thoughtful, and every little detail. Like that's earphones. They're very good. I love my AirPods, but if someone had to risk going to jail to buy earphones, I don't think they would. So you think about that as stacked up against cannabis, which unfortunately even today it's still a very large issue in our country. There are a number of people going still going to jail for reasons that they shouldn't be. We always viewed cannabis as an exceptional product, and we wanted to treat it with the reverence that it deserves.
Definitely. And you mentioned a little bit about the success in the U.S. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and how you're driving sales and really building that loyalty in the U.S.?
Sure. To talk about the cannabis side of the business, we have an asset-light model. I'm sure we'll touch on it at some point, but we operated up in Canada for a few years in partnership with Canopy Growth. And we learned a tremendous amount from being in that market, becoming a really large, successful brand in a nation where cannabis is legal at the federal level, and where we grew to operate at scale, being in over 1,000 doors across the country, having sophisticated trade marketing programs and sales tactics. So we were able to take those learnings and take the learnings from rolling out across a nation as it's developing and growing, and take all those learnings and apply it to the California market to start, where we also had the advantage of having lived there, Seth, Evan, and myself for a number of years, and watching as consumers in that market. And so we've been incredibly disciplined and patient, and we really believe that we are still in the early innings of this industry. Mm-hmm. And we know that we have a real shot here to be one of the winners long term when you think about companies and brands that excel in this space and that have a real reason for consumers to believe and trust the company. And so we deployed all of those learnings and that experience into rolling out in the cannabis market in California, and it's gone incredibly well. We've never been one to sacrifice quantity for quality. We are incredibly focused on quality of our cannabis products. We likely have the strictest standards in the industry for the buds that end up making it into one of our tins. As I mentioned, we have an asset-light model, so we view ourselves as the curators of the best portfolio of strains in the market, and it's our view today that in order to do so, you need to be, I don't want to say cultivator agnostic, because we're far from agnostic, but you need to set yourselves up to be able to pick the best cultivators to work with, and then from there, strip out only the best product, and we take that very seriously. And the market has been really receptive to that product as a premium product in the space. We believe we have good value at a $60 MSRP for the quality of weed that you're getting in that tin. And so the market's reacting really well to that. We wanted people to open up a tin and be really delighted, right?
Yeah, and the market reaction makes me think. Seth and Evan are really involved, right, in the process of selection, in the creative process. Earlier, we had Troy from the parent company, and he mentioned the brand. Since Monogram had launched, they had gotten 1 billion impressions on social media. You got 1 billion impressions in the first week, right? 500,000 followers in the first 24 hours since launch, right? So the influence of Seth and Evan, is clearly seen both on the consumer side, but also on the product selection side. Can you tell us a little bit about their involvement in the company? How real is it? How active is it? How important is it? What is the value and weight of what they say?
Sure. And it's a question we get a lot because there's, as everyone in this room and watching is aware,
it's easy to slap, just a random celebrity name
totally.
For a brand. It's like, okay, whatever. Here's your licensing fee.
This is completely the opposite. Seth, Evan, and I have been working on this for about a decade at this point. They say all the time that they are incredibly pleased that they have had such a successful film and television career, so that it has allowed them to do this.
Wait, what do you mean by a decade?
We for a decade, 10 years ago, as consumers in California, and I mean, Seth has been one of the most vocal cannabis consumers out there, and the reason that we have such a tremendous opportunity is he hasn't shied away from that. And at the same time, he has continued to be an incredibly productive and contributing member of society. And the subtext there is that he's doing all of that while extremely high every day. He smokes joints all day, every day. And he wasn't, shy to talk about that. And it's the reason that we have such a great opportunity and why we're succeeding is not because this is endorsed by a celebrity. The reason that we're succeeding is because we are data driven and we are experience driven. We have the incredible luxury of taking the experience of two individuals who have really figured out how to take cannabis and make it work for them in their daily life, and also have a unique talent of taking a topic and putting it into a medium like film, like television, like advertisements that can transcend an incredibly broad audience. Like look at Pineapple Express, which is leaps and bounds, above any other cannabis-related film. It was a big budget blockbuster film about weed.
Yeah.
And anyone who watched that movie either enjoyed it for the comedy or the action, but anyone who's a cannabis consumer out there enjoyed it because they knew that that movie was made by people who loved weed. And only people who obsessed about weed and consumed it every single day could have made a film like that with that type of success. And it's that type of experience. I mean, I've been with them, next to them for 20 years now, and watching people come up to them. Everyone wants to smoke weed with them.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants to ask them questions about weed.
Oh, yeah.
They have been playing this role of curators and as trusted, advisors in terms of how people consume cannabis for decades now. So we're taking that experience, no different than like why the Jordan brand is successful. It's not just because it has Jordan's name on it. It was, it's got to be the shoes, right? It's they made product based on the great experience of the best athlete. It's no different for us. And on top of the experience that we're able to leverage, of course, we have the unfair advantage of having Seth's microphone and platform that we're able to get that message out to a much wider audience at a much faster pace.
Oh, sounds pretty fair to me. But like you're talking about Pineapple Express and Seth's movies, and they're by definition stoner movies, right? Like just kind of misadventures and adventures and things happen, right? But the brand Houseplant is has a very different look and feel. It's not a stoner brand at all. Even like in the ethos and the mission and everything, it reflects a different sort of feel. Why is that, and why do you choose to structure it this way?
Well, I think to be fair, I'd say that their films being stoner films is a miscategorization. I think that, and I think that obviously everyone in this room probably agrees, the word stoner has a lot of poor connotations today. I think what they have proven is that the word stoner can be pretty damn broad, and that's what we've set out to do with the house goods side of our business, right? I mean, you have bankers in this city, who are all stoners, right? Who are all consuming cannabis, and what we've done is created a brand that speaks to that broad audience. And Seth and Evan are far from what people would assume is a typical stoner, and I think it's really misunderstood. They're misunderstood a bit even publicly because their films do resonate with, or in the past, like a decade ago, we're talking, resonated really with the younger, maybe traditional stoner crowd. But they themselves, they have never ever talked about having the munchies. They don't snack on junk food. Evan and myself have an incredible amount of dietary restrictions and allergies, and we live in Los Angeles. We eat healthier than I guarantee most people in the city.
Yeah.
So we've set up our brand to respond to the modern day cannabis consumer, which is incredibly broad and sophisticated.
Talk about sophisticated stuff. What do we have here on the table? Can you show us a little bit, tell us what we're seeing? Because,
sure.
I mean, you cannot tell what things are from just looking at them. They're not traditional, they're not shaped as traditional stuff, right?
Sure. We set out to make objects that accomplish two things. One is they are aesthetically beautiful, pleasing, would fit into a really nice home among many other nice objects, or is a more aspirational purchase for someone where they're incredibly proud to have it in their home and display it. And then the second thing we look for is utility. Everything that we make serves a real function in your life, and we have been working on and have a pipeline of products that we're developing. We've been working on for 5-6 years at this point, and we don't put something out into the world until we really stress test it, make prototypes, and live with them, utilize them, really work out the the thing. We kill products all the time after prototyping because they don't work as well as we want them to, and we tweak them. And so I mean these products that we have right here, the one on my right, your left is a block table lighter, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Sits here.
Wow.
And you wouldn't necessarily know that it's block table lighter. This is an ashtray here, lighter here, and it has sort of some maybe brutalism references, and that would look beautiful in anyone's home. All of our objects are incredibly easy to clean as a function that we always build in. This is an ashtray set by Seth, so it's designed based off Seth has become a really successful ceramist, and his ceramics have an incredibly great following. So this is a set that we made modeled after an ashtray that he came up with, because he failed to find an ashtray that had a deep area to hold your ash so it wouldn't blow all over your house, and a rest here with a deep groove. And he likes plants and flowers, and we made something beautiful that people can be proud to display. And we have, I don't know, do we have our that sizzle reel teed up, or?
Do you have sizzle reel?
Probably. Maybe it's not available, but I think we sent something in.
Not one thing I dislike there, man. I want them all.
Thank you. I mean, you can buy all of that. Well, those are all products that we have already launched. We're about to launch a few more, and then we have a winter campaign coming out where we'll be launching a big group of house goods, a lot of innovative products that we've been working on for a long time. We're really excited to share with the world.
I mean, way to defy all stereotypes. Honestly, it's amazing. We have only 90 seconds left. I want to make sure that we address the money issue, right?
Sure.
Can people invest in the company? How can people invest in the company? Will you be opening a raise anytime soon? Like, I know you've funded the company yourself so far. You're invested, you believe in it. It drives revenue as well, so it kind of works by itself.
It was really important for us to not take on outside capital, and we were in a privileged position to not have to do so up until we launched in March. We didn't want to be beholden to anyone else's opinion or timeline until we launched, because it was really imperative for us to launch both sides of the business at the same time. Seth, Evan, and myself, we each have a significant amount of capital invested of our own. This is something we obviously really believe in. And starting in March, we did start to take on very selectively some outside capital from what I would define as strategic individuals. So we don't have any fund money, no family office money. Right now, it has just been strategic individuals who we have some relationship mostly with already, who really understand what we're doing, believe in it, believe in us and our ability to execute, and can be accretive in some way. So people from other industries who think about things differently, who have cracked things that we're looking to crack. I mean, as we think about our competitors, we're not just looking at the cannabis space. Obviously, with house goods, we're competing with homeware brands, but we're looking at CPG companies and really thinking about the future. And so we're building a base, a bench of investors who can be helpful. And so I'm, always open to any conversation for sure. We're privately held right now, and who knows what the future holds. I think the winds change daily here in the cannabis sector.
How can people reach you? I mean, I'm sure a lot of investors here, present in person or watching, online, would want to reach you or your investor relations people or your, whomever manages.
Yeah, you can go to houseplant.com and click through. Go to info and email us, and we're incredibly responsive. So I think if you're interested, you won't have trouble finding us.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Awesome chat, right? Mikey Mohr from Houseplant and Javier Hasse. If you don't know him by now, you're not paying attention. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Really appreciate it.